The Dunning-Kruger effect, put simply, is one's overestimation and overconfidence in the information that they know. For example, the Dunning-Kruger effect is like a person standing on top of a mountain thinking they can see everything clearly, when in reality they are unable to see the vastness of the surrounding landscape because they are too close to it. Just like the person on the mountain, individuals experiencing the Dunning-Kruger effect overestimate their knowledge and abilities, unaware of the gaps in their understanding. Now, this is a simple example that has no real impact on that person's social, work, or love life, but the puzzle piece of the Dunning-Kruger effect is the lack of self-awareness. Now, let's get into the recent and most revealing events that the Dunning-Kruger effect has been found. I want to look at a few examples of the Dunning-Kruger effect in the past few years that relate to the January 6th insurrection, COVID-19, and the Donald Trump fandom, and how they all relate back to and are examples of the Dunning-Kruger effect, and how the effects of the lack of self-awareness have on our political and social norms.
2000 Mules is a documentary by Dinesh D'Souza, claiming massive voter fraud based on some cell phone data and surveillance footage that's been lauded by Trump, laughed at by Bill Barr, discredited by fact-checkers, and banned from even right-wing media because of its unfounded claims.
You notice, you turn on Fox News, they have never mentioned that movie once. Somebody's pulling the strings.
Who do you think it is?
It may be Obama.
You think Obama's pulling the
Or it
strings?
could be
Obama?
George Soros.
You think it's possible that Fox News doesn't mention 2000 Mules? Your theory, there's a giant conspiracy up on top in which they don't do it. Or the second theory is that movie's not credible.
I know the movie's credible.
In this example, the people shown are claiming that a specific documentary called 2000 Mules is the truth, and mass media isn't showing it because someone is pulling the strings. This is an example of two things. 1. Cognitive bias, and 2. The Dunning-Kruger effect. These folks are hearing information from one source and taking it as fact with no extra checking, which is why it's an example of cognitive bias, and the unwarranted confidence that this person displays in their argument is an example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. So, with the combination of these two effects, this person may get problematic ideas from certain places and never fact-check them, which may cause them to lose grasp on reality in a way that they won't ever believe anything without any irrational explanation to those things. The study of the Dunning-Kruger effect is still being debated, with some researchers calling it a statistical artifact, and some others calling it an actual psychological phenomenon. So, it can be hard to analyze and research going into it. But one study by the Frontiers in Psychology tried to prove that the Dunning-Kruger effect was a statistical artifact, and their conclusion was that, quote, by specifying a simple statistical model which explicitly takes the random boundary constraints into account, we achieve a near-perfect fit, thus demonstrating that the Dunning-Kruger effect is a statistical artifact, end quote. They compared exam results with the prediction of the results from those exams. The exams that they used are from a school in Russia where around 600 students took 3 Statistics 2 exams throughout the year where they were invited to predict what grade they think they would get. And after they gathered all that data, it showed that the students were very close in their predictions throughout the 5 years, which leads them to conclude that the students who were starting out in a class were not over or underconfident in their knowledge. So presumably, the Dunning-Kruger effect is only a statistical artifact and not a real psychological phenomenon. Another study done by the University of Punjab went over a few studies and compared those results against each other and found evidence of the Dunning-Kruger effect. In the study, they collected a bunch of studies where they took people's self-reported literacy skills compared to their real literacy skills. They found that 64% of the total studies collected, there was evidence of overestimation of literacy skills. But the issue with the study is that it relies on self-reporting, which is not always reliable, but shows that the Dunning-Kruger effect may not just be a statistical artifact in this certain area of study. The next example of the Dunning-Kruger effect I want to look at has to do with COVID-19 and how lack of education on the subject can result in overconfidence and false and disproven facts.
If you're too brainwashed and too stupid to see that a mask and a vaccine are not going to protect you from fascism, you know what? I've got some swampland in Florida for you.
What does that mean?
That means I'm buying swampland in Florida. That's like the stupidest thing you could possibly do.
In this clip, this person is saying how a mask and vaccines will not help with preventing a COVID-19 infection. In her speech, she seems very confident in what she's saying. She is loud and clear and seems to really care. And in her mind, she wants to make people aware that putting this stuff in your arm will hurt you more than it will help you. But there is no peer-reviewed and legitimate study that proves any of these claims to be true. Quite the opposite, in fact. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention clearly states that the vaccine is safe and a severe reaction to the COVID-19 vaccine is rare. But some of these people may may not believe in the CDC due to the research they think is legitimate. A study done in November 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic in Bangladesh went over the effectiveness of mask usage covering the nose and the mouth. They found that the total reduction in COVID-19 transmission was 11%, with their estimate being 10%, which does show that masks do help and do not cause COVID-19 to become worse or spread more violently. But in the study, they did say that a limitation was that they couldn't 100% guarantee that the people of the villages didn't change their behavior of mask wearing due to the study. So this study shows that what she is saying is factually incorrect, but she believes it and is very confident about it. Relating to the medical field, there was an article written by Sridhar Sundaram basically saying that the Dunning-Kruger effect needs to be considered when training people to perform an endoscopy, because overestimation can be a problem when training endoscopists. There can be damage done to patients if not done properly, and if there isn't a proper mindset when doing the procedure, it can lead to further overestimation. In the article, he's trying to make it known so there can be better training programs created for endoscopists.
You know, a free hamburger, free something, you know, just, it's crazy. And it's proven that it has creepy crawlers in it, it has pieces of metal.
What are creepy crawlers?
It's things with tentacles. And they like try to move together. It's like they're a family of satanic little particles.
In this clip, they are throwing out random conspiracy theories saying that there are creepy crawlers and metal in the COVID-19 vaccine, and that there is a new world order, which just goes to show that these people may be doing their research on random websites that have no factual information on them. A study done by Zachary Goldberg and Sean Ritchie went over how anti-vax conspiracy theories are related to belief in other non-relating conspiracy theories, such as Obama is a Muslim, and if anyone in the government knew about the 9/11 terrorist attacks before they occurred. And they found that when they took a survey in 2016 asking people whether or not they believed in these theories, they found that people who believed in one of them are likely to believe in the rest of them, which goes to show that people who are in the world of conspiracy theories are likely to believe in other outlandish theories. And if you take the Dunning-Kruger effect into account with these conspiratorial beliefs, it would seem that there may be a correlation between certain information that people ingest that would make them overconfident in their skills and beliefs.